So I'm Alex Robinson Guy, and my presentation is on Thresher Sharks. So let's get started. So the taxonomic grouping is the family is Alopidae, the genus is Alopius, and there are three species: Vulpinus, Supercilius, and Pelagicus. And so the Vulpinus, also known as the common thresher, is the largest with the smallest eyes. The supercilious is the big eye thresher is known for its large eyes. It has fewer teeth than the common thresher, a longer snout, and a V-shaped cranium. The pelagic thresher also has a V-shaped cranium, whereas it has straighter fins and a narrow snout. In 1995, there was evidence of a fourth species in Baja, which was supposedly being mistaken as the big eye thresher. But there was no official morphology, and there hasn't been any real follow-up on whether or not this is truly the case. One of the closest relatives to the thresher sharks is the megamouth shark, which is unfortunately deceased. But the closest living relatives are the basking shark and the mackerel shark, which you can see on the top there. And so here's the life cycle. This is actually the first photo of a thresher shark giving birth, and that is a pelagic thresher right there. So there are 2 to 6 pups per litter. The size at birth is usually between 3 to 5 feet and 11 to 13 pounds. The thresher sharks are an oviparous species, which means that they live in egg sacs in the womb, and the sharks eat that, and then after they're done eating that, usually they eat the unfertilized eggs while they're still in the womb. And so they give birth in warm, shallow waters, and the juveniles stay around there until they grow up and move out into the open ocean. They can grow to be, for the males, around 10 feet, and for the females, around 12 to 18 feet. The largest thresher shark ever recorded was 24.9 feet long, though, so that's very intense. Thresher sharks reach maturity between 3 and 8 years old, and they're estimated to live about 20 or more years. And so here's the geographic distribution. While they give birth on the coast, usually they spend their time in the open ocean where their prey is. Common threshers are found in North America and the Asian North Pacific, whereas big eye and pelagic threshers are in the Central and Western Pacific, where they can dive pretty deep and exist and live pretty deep from the surface to about 1,200 feet down. They are primarily pelagic, which means they do not live near the bottom or the shore of the ocean, and is also where the pelagic thresher gets its name. And so they live in the open ocean, so they can hunt for food, obviously. And they don't really need anything out of their environment. They're pretty hardy. And so for food, they eat mendahen, herring, Atlantic saury, sand lance, tuna, mackerel, bluefish, butterfish, bonito, and squid. They mostly eat schooling fish because they're easy to hunt and herd. You can herd them into clumps and then stun large amounts. Despite the fact that thresher sharks usually live a very solitary existence, they are known to hunt in pairs or groups if the situation requires it. And they have been known to be able to kill birds and some other pretty serious large animals with their stunning tail capabilities. They have no real predators, but sometimes larger sharks will eat thresher shark pups, which is not terribly unusual. Humans, however, are the primary factor in the decline of the thresher shark, per usual. They often are fishing for whatever the thresher shark is eating, and so it's a bycatch situation. But often, the thresher shark is hunted specifically for their large tail fins, which is then obviously eaten. And thresher sharks used to hunt more at night, but now they don't, possibly because there is less and less food for them to be eating. And humans have disturbed the fish patterns. And so here's a video of some thresher sharks in the wild. And so you can just skip past that. And so you can see them and their very long tails and how they live in the ocean. And let me just get to the part where they kill stuff. And so here's a video of them hunting with the tail action, and you can see how it works with the fish. And it's actually very hard to catch thresher sharks and the tail on video because it moves so fast. So this is pretty lucky to have. And so here's Jesus. And so here's a picture of the like the actual motion in a sort of graph, I guess, and how it's vertical, and that's the most powerful form of tail slap. They'll do it sideways, but they prefer this more vertical one. And so it can go as fast as 30 to 80 miles per hour, and it can stun the fish, or if it's more extreme, kill them, or even make the fish explode. And it kills several fish when it hits, but they're not always totally accurate. And sometimes it can make the water boil because it's going so fast. And this is called cavitation, which is something that only mantis shrimp, I believe, have done previously, but thresher sharks also do it. And so they theorized that thresher sharks developed this in order to hunt those little schooling fish because rather than hunting them individually, which is a lot of time and effort, they developed this stunning action as to catch more fish with less effort. And also, this makes a supposed cracking sound, which has been described as like electrical, similarly to, I imagine, how lightning would sound, but, like underwater and with a shark. And another adaptation that the thresher shark has, and here's a like slowed down picture of what was happening in the video. But another adaptation that the thresher shark has is they have a strip of red muscle along the side, which allows them to swim for long periods and regulate and retain their body heat. And this is good for hunting in the open ocean and in the colder depths. And this is similar to the counter-current exchange, but less efficient, really, with the thresher sharks. Mackerel sharks, their close relative, have developed a better version of this. And scientists theorize that the reason why younger sharks stick to the warmer coastal waters is because they haven't developed this muscle fully enough yet. And so they can't dive as farther into the cold water as the adult thresher sharks can. And so these are my citations, and so This is my presentation on the adaptations of thresher sharks and why they are so adept at living in the open ocean areas in which they like habitate. That's not a word. And so I hope you appreciated it and learned stuff about thresher sharks.